And we are worried enough to endure things that just a month ago would have seemed preposterous. Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner, whatever that means. Now, that's not something that under normal circumstances officials casually drop during briefings. It's the kind of statement that might trigger violence. People don't respond well when you threaten to take their kids. But Ryan said it like it was no big deal, and that's how the media treated it. His threat didn't make headlines in any of the major newspapers in this country. That's the kind of moment we're in. So how long will this moment last? Well, on Friday, Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, predicted that the first in a series of lockdowns will go on until June.
One of the things that just concerns me, it's not one of those immediate concerns, but is, you know, this draws out through the summer and then the cold weather comes around and then there's another wave of it. How do you, as a leader, how do you think about this?
Early on when people said, is this just going to be a few days or a couple weeks? I said, no, I think it's at least 2 months. And I said, if we're successful in this, we can expect a second spike in the late fall or early winter. That's how viruses work. We better steel ourselves for a second and maybe even third round of this. But we also need to be nimble enough to know we're not going to flip a switch one day and turn the economy back on.
A quote, second and maybe even third round of lockdowns. That's a long time. Former Obama official Jason Furman, who's now an economist at Harvard, predicts the disruption may be even more severe than that. Quote, we should certainly be prepared for a meaningful level of deliberate suspension of economic activity for the rest of the year.
The bizarre derailment ended here, just 250 yards from the U.S. naval ship Mercy, docked at the port of Los Angeles. It has non-COVID hospital patients on board. Federal agents say 44-year-old Eduardo Moreno, the train engineer, purposely ran it off the tracks. They say his intention was to crash it into the USNS Mercy. Just before 12:30 Tuesday afternoon, a CHP officer says he saw Moreno purposefully run the train off the tracks through concrete and steel barriers, through a chain-link fence and 3 unoccupied cars, before it finally came to a stop. Luckily, no one was hurt. That CHP officer and Port Police took Moreno into custody. He apparently told the CHP officer he believed the USNS Mercy was tied to a government plot. He said, the whole world is watching. I had to. People don't know what's going on here. Now they will. He was taken into custody, where he told FBI agents he did it out of a desire to wake people up. Moreno stated that he thought the USNS Mercy was suspicious and did not believe the ship is what they say it's for. Mayor Eric Garcetti said, luckily, the crash did not impact non-COVID patients on board receiving care.
In terms of the derailment, no, that shouldn't in any way change the operations. We still have vehicle access. We can get folks in and out of there, and they have been accepting patients.
Moreno says he acted alone and didn't plot this out ahead of time. He now faces up to 20 years in prison. From the Port of Los Angeles Police Department, Stacey Butler, KCAL 9 News.
They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of snakes is under their lips. Their mouths are full of bitterness and curses. And in their paths, nothing but ruin and misery. And the fear of God is not before their eyes. They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful. And they have blinded us to the truth. And our human spirit is corrupted. Why do we worship greed? Because outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners. Our owners. They have us. They control us. They are our masters. Wake up. They're all about you, all around you.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated. They are dismantling the sleeping middle class. More and more people are becoming poor. We are their cattle. We are being bred for slavery. The revolution.
Not again.
We cannot break their signal. Our transmitter is not powerful enough. The signal must be shut off at the source. We have